Good evening, good morning, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is David Okon. We are talking today about money given by the United Kingdom to the United Kingdom people and people who need this help. I've been talking about it. Watch this video and the rest of the video to connect the video so that you can make sense. We are going to look at the 6 elements of universal credit, and we are looking at some specifics on something called descriptors in relation to what questions and answers you participate in as a claimant or somebody who is trying to support a claimant in the United Kingdom using a process which is specific, which is complicated. If you are going to do a study of policy on politics and also maybe system of business or trade or international relations, anything including technology, anything involving structures, social structures, political systems. If you're studying the United Kingdom, which is what this exercise represents, is government policy on money given by the United Kingdom government to the United Kingdom people. It's a comprehensive program of social welfare system and also provision within money, within help in kind, the ones you find in the hospital, the ones you find in schools, housing, and all the other elements of social welfare policy and programs. So when I talk about this, it's representative of what the government does in terms of policy, what in the United Kingdom and what it does in the UK, represent what happens around the world, especially America, developed world, also developing worlds like Africa or South America or parts of Asia. So pay close attention as a study and also as a learning generally, because it's about life, it's about health and wealth, it's about peace. We're discussing all these things under these topics. So it's intended to be a comprehensive program of YouTubing, and it's not the only thing I'm doing as a YouTuber. There are other things I'm also doing, but mainly now I'm actually looking at policy and maybe politics also, and the economy. All these are connected in any society, whether you are in one country or another. I keep repeating this point. And thank you very much for coming. Thank for those who are subscribed and watch and share with family and friends, and people who are making comments. Positive feedback is very useful. I get a lot of support. Increasingly, we are work in progress. I'm so happy that it is here. It's challenging, and so is, if anything is good, it has to be challenging. So today we are looking at point number 16. If you are claiming universal credit for yourself or somebody else or somebody you know, somebody you don't know, because we live in a world of humanity. We need to become humanity more than we are now, because we talked about other people as strangers. So we should turn from people who are so violent culturally, people who are so unhelpful, people who are so brutal. Like young people are killing each other on the street. And adults are killing each other in different places. If you look at the war in Ukraine, the war between Ukraine and Russia, if you look at the Middle East between Israel and Gaza and all the other groups fighting there, and Iran being involved, shooting at Israel, people behave like little children. Literally, I mean, these are people who are leading the world. We must be totally insane. If we fight like that, Israel is fighting this so-called terrorist group, is it Hezbollah or whoever they are. These are human beings. These are human flesh and blood. They should live together. So our culture being actually problematic, our society is at stake. And we look at things like government policy and program. We need to link this to humanity. And I have said it over and again that the work we do should center its primary objective on people. If we don't actually care about people anymore, then we're in trouble. We are in a situation now where the public sector is closing down, and there's a lot of pressure being put on services because this is not being funded, and that is the only reason. Britain is the sixth richest country in the world, and it should fund public service. That is the bottom line. It is a political decision, and it is a form of violence by the British government against the British people. I'm not saying the British people are innocent, because we have to look at our culture where we refer to one another as strangers. This is a strange thing. For people, we are humans. Why are we strangers? I mean, Africans are not allowed to come into Europe or other parts of the world, and the government is fighting tooth and nail to deport people coming from other countries into Rwanda. I'm not saying government shouldn't do that. It should do that because it is necessary. It is evil to stop people coming into your country, but it's a necessary security situation where the British government cannot neglect its borders, and that is a dangerous thing because how long are we going to live like that? We should be having a free country, where a free world where you travel anywhere you want. We need to achieve a society where the law is made redundant, policy are made redundant, people have knowledge of what is right and what is wrong, and we are achieving what is right and wrong at the level of technology. Technology of today is very so impressive as to evidence human ingenuity, our capacity to succeed. And we need to do that on the side of culture, so that we begin to learn what it means to respect ourselves, to respect others, to make sacrifices for our life, to look after our lives, to value our life and to value the life of other people. Also valuing what helps us, like property, like money. We have to have respect for money. We have to have respect for even computers, even water we drink, the food we eat. We have to really respect it. We have to look after the planet, protect our environment, and that is our duty. It doesn't matter whether you're rich or poor, whether you're young or adult. We give too much space, too much latitude to children. Children are growing up not being responsible for even the environment. And if the government has to put laws to protect children from vaping, from buying cigarettes, which are designed by adults to make money, to create addiction, to enslave people. I mean, where do we draw the line on our morality? So let us come back to looking at the specific policy in the UK. But I promise in the other videos, if you watch them and watching this one as well, I promise I will stop from time to time to give an opinion of what our life should be like, and look at its relevance, and look at our lives as humanity, our culture, what I refer to as cultural economy and developmental economy. Things like computer, wealth, money, these are development, and culture also. These are people how they live. You see, the people are the author of peace. It doesn't matter how rich these countries are. We have seen this in evidence. Britain is one of the richest countries on earth. Poverty should not be here. Minimum wage should be at least on average 30 to maybe 20 to 30 pounds per annum after tax. This will lift the British people out of poverty. The same with benefit. Benefit should not be despised because it is a novel thing to get or to give to people. The government should focus on increasing benefit and also establishing it as a system of getting the British people out of poverty. This is because technology is on the rise, and appropriately, it will be taking away jobs anyway. Taking away jobs will not be an act of violence. People should not resent technology, because technology is coming to help, should be coming to liberate us from slavery, industrial slavery. People who want to create wealth have made us work day and night like slaves. And that's why I say employment is wrong. Everybody should be self-employed. Work for yourself. Be your own boss. And we partner with our fellow humans as fellow equals. There is no saying some people are being treated as if they are gods. They are multimillionaires and multi-billionaires. They live in another planet. They don't care about the rest of the world. And this should be stopped. Because if we don't, we are going to go extinct. Poor people will die first, and rich people will also die. Because you see, one wrong act on one group of people, whether they are black, whether they are white, whether they are, old or young, all these will amount to peace failure. If peace fails, then we are going to face extinction. We are supposed to use technology and engineering and science to stop aging, or even slow down aging. There are people working on that now. Reverse aging. We are supposed even to bring life back. We can do that, so that we have hope. Today we are actually under pressure because we are growing old. We face mortality by an act of nature. So we can actually control nature by controlling our environment, by using technology. Technology is there to be a tool for progress, for looking after society, for looking after us. But now we are at the risk of weaponizing technology. We are using atom bombs. We are using nuclear weapons. We are using drones. And Iran have been sending drones, and it's very, very dangerous, lethal weapons, and firing it the same. And they justify it. They say they are right. They are wrong. In the same way, Israel is wrong to fight anybody because he kills people. I mean, if you kill somebody, is that the right thing? Are we insane? The answer is yes, we are. And if we can choose to be insane, we choose insanity. We can choose sanity. And that is a sign of hope, because we can choose. We can make decisions. I've been saying this over and again, and I will go ahead saying it. I'm trying different things with this program, and I will leave a comment below what you think about how this approach is working. Looking at point number 16, people with mental challenges, mental disability or illness may cope with social situations, and the Department of Work and Pension, which is a government department, will always design questions and answers in this form, which claimants or their supporters, directly or indirectly, professionals or other just members of the family or in the community, are trying to support people who need help, and try and support people. And as much as you can, if you are lucky enough to come across good professionals in society or in our community, access their website at gov.uk. That is the UK government website. Is probably similar to our website, operate across the globe with governments. And we got essentially the biggest advice service in the United Kingdom, Citizen Advice. You go to their public website, you can get information there. From there, you can get other links to connect with energy, healthcare, and all sorts of connection. The world, the website economy resources is quite strong, and something we should celebrate in our society. Is liberating us in many ways. Since COVID-19, many people have been working from home, and this should be actually appreciated. And there is hope. I may be talking about things which are very difficult. It can be distressing, but people are already distressed, and avoiding talking about it is not the solution, because if you talk to people, they're already distressed. Some people are contemplating committing suicide, and because people don't talk to them. I mean, if you talk to people or you allow them to speak, you listen to them, they feel so relieved. I mean, it's so healing to allow people to speak about challenges they face. And 50% of help is actually listening to people who need help. If people are actually sick, if they are mentally ill, sometimes you just have to go and sit, ask them a specific question and listen to them. That is 50%. You are halfway helping them. The rest of the help, like practical things like money or even housing, people can always cope. But what people cannot cope with is fear, anxiety, and other forms of pain caused by things like mental illness. That's what I'm going to talk about in terms of this benefit. And if you watch this video, watch the rest of the video. And this question is about how you cope with meeting and speaking with people. This is how you interact with other people. How your mental dexterity or capacity, or specifically mental illness and disability. It is about whether you have difficulties relating to people or even meeting and speaking to people causes you significant stress. The reason you have difficulties could be because you have a condition like autism, which means you find it hard to relate to people. You have a learning disability, and you have issues with anger, aggression. Your mental health makes it hard to be around people or talk to them. For example, it might be hard to be around people or talk to them if you have depression, anxiety, post-traumatic distress stress disorder, PTSD. The Pan-American person are trying to understand within this process whether you have difficulties with people, whether you have difficulties with people, you don't know, or how often you have problems, whether it's all the time or most of the time. Question can be asked to the effect of trying to figure out how your situation is. Can you meet people without feeling too anxious or scared? The answer is no. You say no. If yes, or it varies. Think carefully, and this could be anyone who have met you have met before, like your doctor, your neighbor, or friends. It doesn't just mean people you are close to. Don't feel embarrassed if you have to take no. Or for example, if seeing people makes you anxious or scared, for example, because it makes you feel stressed or nervous, you avoid meeting up with people. Can you meet people you don't know without feeling too anxious or scared? If the answer is no, yes, or it varies, then you tell the Pan-American person. This could be someone like a cashier in a shop, a person in the bus queue, a neighbor you have never met, and consider how you would feel if you needed to deal with the public in a job. For example, in a shop or a hotel, you might need to take no if speaking to strangers makes you scared or anxious. For example, because it makes you feel stressed or nervous, and you try to avoid meeting and speaking to new people. You try to not go out because you don't want to see people. You might need to take it. It varies if meeting people you didn't expect to meet makes you anxious or scared, but you are okay when you meet when you plan to meet them. If this is the case, then explain what happens and how it makes you feel in the box. What to explain about your social situation, and these are some of the categories. Continue watching. Continue watching. When you're talking about your social situation to the Department of Work and Pension, The Department of Work and Pension is a government branch or within the local authorities, especially also centrally, but mainly for purpose of delivering services, statutory based services at local level. You got their branches at the local level, the Department of Work and Pension. It's important to tell them more by explaining your situation as directed, as indicated in the form. Use the box to explain how you feel about spending time with other people. For example, how you feel when you have to meet and speak to people. If you find it hard to relate to people, how they react to you, and how it makes you feel, how often you avoid seeing or meeting people, whether you find it easier to meet other people if someone you trust is with you, and whether you have good and bad days. If you could cope with meeting or speaking to more than one person at a time, and whether it physically affects you. For example, makes you feel hot, faint, or dizzy. The Parawakan Pension gives points to question 16 in one way or the other, and pay attention to that situation. Continue watching. So continue watching. The Parawakan Pension will check which of these descriptors matches your answer. If you meet descriptor 16A, you will get limited capability for work-related activity. And if you watch the rest of the video explaining at fair length what the actual meaning of limited capability for work-related activity, but also limited capability for work, or limited capability for work, which is you are sick, but you are not required to look for work. But you can do other activity related to work. So work-related activity, that is what they are trying to talk about. And so if you meet these descriptions, you get limited capability for work at 16. And if you meet one of the other descriptors, the Department of Work and Pension will add up your points from the whole form to decide if you can get limited capability for work. If you look at descriptors, I look at number 16A. Engagement in social contact is always precluded due difficulty relating to others or significant distress experience by the claimant. Somebody who is making the claim, you get 15 points. If you understand what I'm talking about, if you don't understand it, it's okay, because you can leave a comment below, and then I will specifically elaborate on whatever I'm trying to talk about. If you look at number B, this is question number 16, engagement in social contact with someone unfamiliar to the claimant, to somebody who is trying to claim, or otherwise is always precluded due to difficulty relating to others or significant distress experienced by the claimant. This is number 9. You get number 16B, you get 9 points. If you are look at number C, engagement in social contact with someone unfamiliar to the claimant, if it's not possible for the majority of the time, if this engagement is not possible for the majority of the time for someone who is looking for help, due to difficulty relating to others, or significant distress experienced by the claimant, in this, because we are trying to claim something presumptively. The person looking at the information is presumptively looking for help. If you're looking for help, then you get 6 points at question 16C, and you can find this information at .gov.uk or at the public website or Citizen Advice or some other. I will talk about this organization because they are so big, they are so massive. up and down the country, and you can use their information when you are in the UK. You can access it from anywhere in the world as long as you have the internet, and it is public and it's also free. If they ask you to pay for it, then if you have money, then you can pay for it. Whoever asks you to, if you visit Gov UK, if you are asked to pay some money there, then if you have the money, pay it, because I wouldn't be responsible for that. But my understanding is free. This information is free. It's intended for members of the public to use them, also use them within the rules to do with the information, and that is not my responsibility. That is whoever access to try and use this information, their responsibility to find out. But if you also are wanting to know how to use information appropriately, probably I can do a research, because research skill is transferable, and you can use it in one thing or in another. I've been doing a lot of research. Sometimes, talking to people, also phoning around to ask specific questions. People who are lawyers in specific fields, people who are actually expert, maybe legal advisors, policy advisors, consultants, people providing consultancies, accountants. We live in an age of knowledge, and it is really exciting that we are living in an age of knowledge. You can always increase your knowledge, but in my opinion, you can only get so much information. Really, in my view, the best way to use information is actually to use it for specific things to benefit you. It's a free world, and we talk about freedom in the Western democracy sense of the word. There's free speaking to the extent that you are allowed, because we also operate something known as the rule of law. The rule of law is people think the law is there to free them. No, the law is there to support you, to make you safe. And that doesn't necessarily mean you are free, because you have to comply with it. Anything involving compliance, it doesn't make you free at all. If you go to work, you're not necessarily free. So you have to comply with policies at work, and these are also based on the law, the land, and everything done. Almost even the food you eat is produced, distributed, and you buy it in terms of the law. So it brings people through certain channels to kind of like protect their lives and make them safe, promote their welfare. But certainly, if that can be interpreted as freedom, then so be it. But I think freedom comes through education. But in education also, freedom is when you are enlightened, when you know everything perfectly. And that is actually there is an element of utopianism in achieving freedom. So it's a process, it's a prospect also, as people living in society, that we aim to achieve freedom, and we will. Because I believe in humanity. I have seen the scale of our success, and whether I believe when we are our greatest enemy is now mortality, which I believe the next generation, the future generation, will actually overcome mortality, and they will achieve something called regeneration, bringing back the dead to life, bringing back the dead bringing them back to life. I believe that very strongly, and if you believe something, then you achieve what you believe. So we are good to go as a species. We are doing very well. Our lives may be challenging, and so you put a good big smile on your face and live your life freely to the extent that you can achieve freedom. And therefore, going back to our dispensation, continue watching. So to be precluded within the presumption that you might be able to do realistically do some work-related activity can be in terms of context and meanings, and this is something you can actually find details on certain websites. If you visit gov.uk, if you're wanting to understand what the word always precluded in terms of whether or not someone can realistically do a work-related activity. Work-related activity actually talked about in the other videos. Okay, I will be talking about over and again. So if you are interested, if you are not interested, and you happen to be around and you are watching this material, leave a comment below if you would want to know what we're trying to talk about. And so let us look at what somebody who cannot engage in social contact for the majority of the time because they have a mental health condition will meet the descriptor. If you meet the descriptor, that means you are relevantly considered as needing help, and continue watching. Good evening, good morning, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is David Okon. We are talking today about money given by the United Kingdom to the United Kingdom people and people who need this help. I've been talking about it. Watch this video and the rest of the video to connect the video so that you can make sense. We are going to look at the sickness element of universal credit, and we are looking at some specifics on something called descriptors in relation to what questions and answers you participate in as a claimant or somebody who is trying to support a claimant in the United Kingdom using a process which is specific, which is complicated. If you are going to do a study of policy on politics and all So thank you so much. Continue watching, and let's look at number 17 in this process. Whether or not you are behaving appropriately or inappropriately because of your mental health or mental illness. The question is about whether it is difficult for you to control your behavior in front of other people, or if you behave in an unusual way in front of them. This could be because you have a mental health conditions or a neurodiverse condition like autism or brain injury. It could also be relevant if you have conditions such as epilepsy or diabetes, depending on whether you have hypos or seizures and how this affects you. So these are some of the details about people who are sick mentally or disabled mentally. If it is difficult to control your behavior because of alcohol, you should fill in this question if you have alcohol dependency. That is also included to be considered. You should fill in this question if your behavior has made other people feel uncomfortable, scared, upset, or threatened. So the question could look something like, how often do you behave in a way which upsets other people? You could say something like every day, frequently, occasionally. If you think about the question, then do you think about how often you have been unable to control your behavior or reacting or certain reactions when other people are around? It could be people you know or people you don't know. Also try to be honest about what happens, even if you find it embarrassing. You should say if you are upset, or for example, by shouting or screaming, eating, or threatening to hurt other people, completely ignoring other people, throwing something with the intention of breaking it, or like a mug or a plate, saying inappropriate things. For example, if you have a condition that makes you swear, crying uncontrollably, or all the time, remember to explain why this happens. Taking your clothes off, taking your clothes off, or and situations or like that or similarly. Continue watching. So, when you're facing certain situations to do with your mental health or disability, you may from time to time be required to explain about specific, like how you behave, how inappropriate it is. It is important to tell the department worker person more about explaining your situation in certain specific places. You should explain if, for example, you have become violent towards someone, and say if you have been arrested because of it, you have been bad from a shop, pub, or other places. Your medication makes you behave in an inappropriate or unusual way. You have a problem with drugs or alcohol that makes you aggressive or act inappropriately. You know, you upset people, but you can't control your actions. You have been so upset that you can't calm down. You won't go out because you are scared. You will do or say something that could affect other people. And let us look at what we the kind of question the part of work and pension could ask, and what are the award points in relation to question number 17. How the part of work and pension give point for question 17. The part of work and pension will check which of these descriptors matches your answer. If you meet descriptor 17A, you will get limited capability for work-related activity. If you meet one of the other descriptors, the Department of Work and Pension will add up your points from the whole form to decide if you can get a limited capability for work. These things are repeatable, but within different contexts. Descriptor 17A as on a daily basis, uncontrollable episodes of aggressive or inhibited behavior that would be unreasonable in any workplace. You get 15 points there. Number B, 17B, frequently as an uncontrollable episodes of aggressive or this inhibited behavior that would be unreasonable in any workplace. You get 15 point. Number C, occasionally as an uncontrollable episode of aggressive or disinhibited behavior that would be unreasonable in any workplace. You get 9 points there. And number D, none of the above, you get 0 points. Let us answer part number 3. Answer to part number 3, eating or drinking. And these are actually references to your mental disability or sickness, and how they affect certain things you do or you don't, even certain things you don't do, like eating or drinking. This question is on page 18 of the form. This is about how hard it is for you to eat and drink. It is also about if you can't eat or don't want to eat. If you don't want to eat, it means something is probably wrong with you physically or mentally, and how it affects your oral lifestyle. Drinking or eating. The point number 18, eating or drinking. Can you get food and drink to your mouth without help or being prompted by another person? This could be because your mind is not working as it should work, or you physically you are incapacitated. Either way, If the answer is no, yes, or invalid, this isn't just about whether you can physically get food or a drink at your mouth. It's about also about whether you forget to eat or drink, and if you want you don't want to eat or drink. For example, you might forget to eat because of depression, um, and avoid eating because it is painful for you to digest food. Have an eating disorder, don't feel embarrassed to take no. For example, if you have problems with mobility in your hands or arms, a mental health condition makes you forget to eat or unmotivated to eat, and all these complexes, you have anorexia, bulimia, or another type of eating disorder, or you have poor coordination or grip, or you have a weakness or shaking, or you use a feeding tube into your stomach or a feeding line into your veins. Can you chew and swallow food and drink without help or being prompted by another person? The answer is no, yes, or it varies. Again, you shouldn't feel embarrassed to take no. For example, if you find it hard to chew so mainly consume liquids or like soup, eating or drinking makes you cough or choke. You bring food back up, and when you eat, it feels like something is stuck in your throat or chest. You use a feeding tube into your stomach, or you feed your or a feeding line into your veins. So what to explain in the boxes provided by the Department of Work and Pension? This is a condition to do with your orality, whether you eat or drink appropriately, effectively. Telling the Department of Work and Pension is going to help them make decisions on your benefit. This is all about benefit, universal credit for sick people who want extra money on top of what they might or might not be getting. Explain what problems you have eating and drinking. For example, if someone needs to remind or prompt you to eat or drink, if it causes you pain to eat or drink, or makes you feel out of breath, if it takes a long time for you to eat or drink because it's physically difficult for you, or for you forget what you're doing, or if someone especially physically helps you to eat or drink, and how they help you, and if your condition means you forget to eat or drink, or want to eat, how this affects you. The Para Work and Pension give points for question 18, and these are actually a pattern of questions and answers called descriptors, and also the content and the context of the information provided in this process. You will get limited capability for work if one of these descriptors matches your answers. Number A, cannot convey food or drink to the claimant's own mouth without receiving physical assistance from someone else, or cannot convey food to drink for you for your own mouth without repeatedly stopping, or actually experiencing breathlessness or severe discomfort. Or C, cannot convey food or drink to your mouth without receiving regular prompting given by someone else in your presence, or D, owing to severe disorder of mood or behavior, failing to convey food or drinks to your own mouth without receiving one, physical assistance from someone else, or two, regular prompting given by someone else in your presence. C, cannot chew or swallow food or drink, or F, cannot chew or swallow food or drink without repeatedly stopping, experiencing breathlessness or severe discomfort. or D or G cannot chew or swallow food or drink without repeatedly receiving regular prompting given by someone else in your presence, or H owing to severe disorder of food or mood or behavior, or you fail to one chew or swallow food or drink, or to chew or swallow food or drink without regular prompting given by someone else in your presence. And this is some of the situations you find yourself on. And you can then, once you have finished this, the process would be you kind of like check and fill out the form. And once you have looked at the descriptors, once you have done a study, normally these are done by professionals. And if you have no access to professional, unfortunately you may have to do it yourself. So the last section, you finish a set of the form. The last section is about sharing information and what support you would need if you do medical assessment. Then you can send the form with any medical evidence you have. Find out how to finish and send the form. We have discussed this previously. We are only repeating this form. And also, it is important to know that the forms known as UC50 forms are time bound. If you happen to send them late and asking for adjustments, and then you kind of like make sure you communicate this, check when to return the form, so that you know when to return these forms if you are getting cancer treatment. Also, if you have other conditions of disability, if you're getting medical evidence, then you can send the form back after you have filled the form. If you can't because you are disabled or have a health condition, the Department of Work and Pension, DWP, usually send you an extra form to fill in. The form is called the Work Capability Questionnaire, or UC50 form, and therefore the Department of Work and Pension use the form to decide if you need to work or get ready for work. If you won't fill in the rest of the form yet and find out how to start the form. It's like a vicious cycle, because if you are sick and you cannot fill out the form, the Department of Work and Pension still sends you more form to tell them that you are not able to fill out the form. So it's like a vicious cycle. If I'm correct, if I understand it correctly, leave a comment below what you think about these situations. So if you check when you return the form, and you need to send the form back within 4 weeks after you got it. Otherwise, the Department of Work and Pension may decide you can work. If you're late, then they will conclude you can work. You don't need help anymore. Check the letter that came with the form for the exact date. And if it is more than 4 weeks since you got the form, you should still fill it in and send it as soon as possible as you can. The Department of Work and Pension might accept it if there is a good reason you couldn't send it earlier. So there is an element of don't care attitude with the Department of Work and Pension, and it's the government instruction to them, because they are a branch of the government at the civil service. The politicians actually tell them to behave in one way or the other, and they are actually, in my opinion, that is a very nasty way to behave. The government is a very nasty beast, by way of treating human being like statistics. If you're getting cancer treatment, you should fill in the next sections, or if you also have other health conditions or disability. If you don't have other health conditions or disability, you can skip the question on page 18 about a face-to-face assessment. You should still fill in pages 22 and 23. So health assessment can be excluded for certain patients and on other, but still, I think you still have to fill out the form anyway. It doesn't matter how sick. I mean, if you're sick to the point of death, you still have to fill out the form. And somebody who's dying, I don't know. I've never never been in a position where I'm about to die, thank God. And I don't think if money will be on my mind, because but there you go. If you don't have other health conditions, if you will need to ask your doctor or someone else who is treating you to fill in the last page of the form, and they can uh, uh, fill it in before you're finished the rest of the form. So they will need to get your medical evidence, send evidence and the form. I've already explained this in the other videos, so I'm only going through so that you know that what I'm being talking about is actually real, and I've already discussed this elsewhere. If you have other conditions, the last section on page 18 to 18 to 24, the section asks you if you are happy for your doctor and the Department of Work and Pensions to share information with each other about your health or your health or disability. This section also asks what support you would need to go to face-to-face assessments. The Department of Work and Pensions usually asks you to do a medical assessment to help them decide if you can work or prepare for work. Remember, I've already talked about the medical assessment. I said also that policy should be removed because it is the one element which is the terminator of giving health. Nobody passes it in practice. In theory, everybody should be able to pass, but in practice, people don't pass. The health assessment is the terminal point where people really get rejected for benefit purposes. So if it is removed today, tomorrow, almost everybody who claim benefit will get it. So the assessment might be face to face, by phone, or by video call. The Department of Work and Pension will decide which kind of assessment to do based on what you tell them on the form. So the Department of Work and Pension tell the Department of Work and Pension what support you need. It is important to tell the Department of Work and Pension about anything that would help you to do the assessment. If you miss assessment, the Department of Work and Pension might decide you can work. So if you do something wrong, then you can work. If you do something right, then they will put you through the health assessment and you will fail. So do it. Doom if you do, doom if you don't. I think that's the attitude. So you can use the box on the page on page 19 to tell the Department of Work and Pension about the support you need. So this information is actually on gov.uk. You can access it there. So check it if any of the support on pages 19 and 20 the form would help. Also, think about any other support you need to travel to the assessment and get home afterwards. Wait for the assessment once you are there. For example, on a chair in the waiting room, go to the assessment room. For example, going up or down the stairs, answer questions in the assessment about your health or disability. For example, you can ask for a phone or a video assessment if you can't travel on bad days, or if you find it easier to talk to new people on the other phone. If you couldn't do a phone or video assessment, you can ask for an assessor to come to your home. The Department of Work and Pension will only agree if you can't do the assessment another way. So you will need to give them evidence to show why you can't travel. For example, you could give them a letter from your GP or another medical professional. If you don't have a letter or another evidence, I don't know what they're going to do anyway. If you don't have evidence yet, you can send it after the form. Decisions without medical assessment. If you don't need to do assessment, for example, that is what they'll probably talk about. If doing any kind of medical assessment would be too harmful for someone like a claimant, they can ask for the Department of Work and Pensions to make their decisions based on the form alone. And the Department of Work and Pensions must agree if they are very confident you have limited capability for work related activity based on the form. So this is a discretionary decision at that point. If you don't do an assessment, you won't be able to answer any questions the assessor asks, or correct any misunderstanding. And if you are not sure whether you would benefit from being assessed on the form alone, you can get specialist help from the expert advice team. These are subject to resources being available, and always from these professionals. They are facing a lot of limitations on resources. So it is so important to put that into your mind. A lot of people get frustrated in practice. A lot of things are put on paper which are actually need to be done, but in practice you need funding. And that is something you should remember. Get medical evidence. You can send medical evidence of your condition or disability with the form. Medical evidence can be give the Department of Work and Pension a better idea of how your condition affects your ability to work. Write your national insurance number on every page of the evidence you send. If you don't have all the evidence yet, send the form anyway. You can send more evidence later if you are not sure what evidence to send or how to get it. Check what evidence to send, then to be sure how to send evidence if you're sending evidence later after the form is already sent. Because if you have to go to the hospital or somewhere and you are sick, in terms of practicality, you may not even be able to get any evidence at all. So for the Department of Work and Pension to insist on evidence is really very clear indeed. From me say so. And I don't know if they understand the meaning of somebody being sick. It's worth sending any extra evidence as soon as possible. So the Department of Work and Pension get it before they make their decisions. When you send evidence, include a letter telling the Department of Work and Pension your name, your national insurance number, that the evidence supports your universal credit claim, the date you send your form. If you know the date, send any extra evidence to the Health Assessment Advisory Service. Not the job center. You can get the address of your local health assessment advisory service on their website. You can also get the address by calling a certain their number, and the number is free of charge. It can be found on gov.uk or on public website of Citizen Advice or any of the organization. If you need it, then get it. Otherwise, amuse yourself by going through this exercise and enjoy it while it lasts. Watch this video and the rest of the videos. And this is the process. Use the prepaid envelope that came with the form. It's addressed to the Health Assessment Advisory Service. I want you to understand how the government policy works. That's my main aim. So don't take the form to the job center, as this could cause delays. You need to send the form back within 14 working days. No, within 14 weeks. Ask the post office for free proof or postage, so you can prove when you send the form. And if you ask for free proof from anywhere, the chances that you might or you might not get it, because these places the post office are now private companies, so they need to make money. Unless the government is funding a particular post office, don't expect anything to be free. You might get it, you might not get it. It's a case of asking you, but you try to manage your expectation if you're facing a situation of public service. This information is extremely important because it actually is similar to when you're going to the hospital, when you are facing housing situation, when you're facing public transport, you're facing schools. If you're sending your children to school, the information I'm giving on benefits is quite relevant. because these are all public service, they are facing the same challenges. They are designed in similar ways. And talk about employment, that is part of welfare. I've mentioned this before in the other forms. So thank you for watching. Continue watching. And if you are sending after 4 weeks, send the form back after 4 weeks, which means you are late. You should still fill in the form and send it as soon as you can. The Department of Work and Pension might accept the form if there are good reasons you couldn't send the form earlier. I've already explained this in the other videos, so I'm repeating them here. I use the box on page 3 to explain why you are sending the form back late. Include as much detail as possible as you can. For example, if you didn't get the reminder letter, this happened, check your work coach as your correct address, or you have been in the hospital, you were too ill, or you had a bad emergency at home, at the bereavement were out of the country. If the Department of Work person say you have to work because the form was late, you can challenge the decision. You will need to challenge the decision within 1 month. There's a deadline. If find out how to challenge the decision of the Department of Work and Pension, and this is some of the information. If you go online, it's gonna make more sense for you, because you will be in control of the information. They are free public information. You get it online or on some other printed material. It's your choice. It's a free country. It's the world of choice. So if you got good reason in appeals, what it means to have good reasons, you might be refused limited capability for work or limited capability for work related activity if the Department of Work and Pension don't if you don't send back the UC form in time, or you don't send information the Department of Work and Pension are asking for, such as medical evidence. If you are in such a situation and you have a good reason, you can ask for mandatory consideration, which is challenging the decision of the Department of Work and Pension. A good reason include not getting the Department of Work and Pension to request, for example, if the Department of Work and Pension have a wrong address, or you are or you have had previous problems with your postal system. Being in hospital is another one, or being out of the country if you have traveled. If you might need to show, you also might need to show evidence of this, such as hospital admission letter. So it is evidence. And you are sick, and you want money. Being too ill, if this is part of your situation, and ask you can ask if you can be assessed at home. If you're not getting enough notice of the form, or if you didn't get enough notice of the form, a request for information, or not getting a reminder, the Department of Work and Pension must give you at least 4 weeks to send UC 40 or other information they are asked for. 4 weeks can go very quickly when it comes to this form, because a lot of people can take weeks, or even if you're not careful, if you're maybe very, very sick, you might not even be able to fill it out. A reminder at least 3 weeks after your initial request. At least a week to respond after the reminder. You make sure the Department of Work and Pension know anything that could make you vulnerable. For example, if you have a mental health condition, the Department of Work and Pension should do extra checks before deciding a vulnerable person is fit to work. In practice, benefit generally, if you're sick, you're on your own, and your benefit will be stopped or cut altogether because you're sick. I don't think nobody cares. If they do, then they are not able to exercise their care because they lack resources. That is always the problem with the public service and also with the social service, something we need to really bear in mind. So after you have filled out the form, you can return the form to the Department of Work and Pension, and they might ask you to go to a medical assessment. The Department of Work will send you a letter saying when and where the assessment is. It might be a few months after you return your UC 50 form. The more the delay, the more you lose out on money. That's the idea. And they are actually trying to create sickness money because they have failed to give adequate benefit for the British people. That is my criticism. And so we talk about the youth reform. You can tell they should tell you the date at least 7 days beforehand. 7 days can fly when it comes to public service, and when you are sick, especially, you just go like seconds. And so before you go to the assessment, find out what happens at the assessment and how to prepare for this. So so the feedback could be given to you in one way or the other from the assessment board, assessment team, whether they have accepted, whether they haven't accepted. Normally they don't, and you need to do an MR, mandatory reconsideration, and then they will most likely refuse again. Then you will have to go to appeal tribunal. And I've mentioned that before. Thank you for watching this. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Share with family, with friends this video, and click notification bell. Click like, leave a comment below. I'll see you in the next one. Thank you. Bye bye. So thank you so much. Continue watching, and let's look at number 17 in this process. Whether or not you are behaving appropriately or inappropriately because of your mental health or mental illness. The question is about whether it is difficult for you to control your behavior in front of other people, or if you behave in an unusual way in front of them. This could be because you have a mental health conditions or a neurodiverse condition like
Graduation,